And now, broadcasting on Star Worldwide Networks, it's In the Green Room. Green is in, but what does that really mean for you? Join the gang for a fun and energetic half-glass, half-full perspective to what and how sustainability is the lifestyle for the future. It can really affect everything you do, from your health, wallet, environment, money, even your morals. So our goal, to help save the planet one show at a time. Now, welcome to the Green Room.
Welcome everyone to In the Green Room. I'm Kinga.
And I'm Chet. We have a legend in the studio today, Robert Kiyosaki. Welcome in the Green Room.
Woohoo!
We're not worthy!
He's author of the very famous book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It was a New York Times bestseller. Welcome, Robert Kiyosaki.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be a legend. I'm still alive. That's what's good.
And still the most successful financial book of all time, still selling millions of copies.
Yeah, it's still, I hate to say this, but I'm a capitalist and New York Times isn't. And they took me off after 7 years. They said, you're on it too long.
Wow.
You know?
Right.
They took you off the list?
Mm-hmm. And
Wow.
you should, my publisher, they went nuts. They went after him. They said, how can you do that? Because they actually go by book counts. You know, like when you check out a book, this is in the old days before Amazon, they could actually check who was selling the most books.
How many books have been sold?
About 45 million.
Wow.
45 million books. That is so many. So isn't that, I think that's the number one financial book ever.
Ever.
Incredible. So how did you get your start?
I was born at a very early age, and my brother was an only child. No, I was born in Hawaii, and I'm fourth generation Japanese American, which means I don't speak Japanese, barely speak English. And my father, who was poor dad, was the head of education for Hawaii, PhD. And,
Well, can you explain the whole rich dad, poor dad?
I am.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So my father was a PhD, went to Stanford, Northwestern University of Chicago. And when I was a kid, we moved across town in a little place called Hilo, Hawaii. And I went to a school with rich white kids. And suddenly I went, what happened? You know, because I was okay. We're mostly Asian, Filipinos, Portuguese, and Chinese kids. But then we moved across town, and then there was all these rich kids. And I knew they were rich because they had new bicycles and I had to walk. So that's how I knew I was poor. And I asked my fourth grade teacher, I said, hey, when am I going to learn about money? And she gave me some religious background thing about the love of money was the root of all evil. And I'm 9 years old. I said, well, maybe evil to you, but I'd like to have a new bike, you know?
Bikes aren't very evil, yeah.
And then it's like that movie Caddyshack with Bill Murray. You know, my classmates are at the country club and they're eating in the country club and I'm in the Caddyshack. So that's really where the start of Rich Dad, Poor Dad started. I wanted to know how come some people were rich and some people were poor. And so I asked my poor dad, I said, well, when am I going to learn about money at school? He says, we don't teach money at school. I went, why not? And he says, I don't know. The government tells us what to do. And so he says, if you want to find out about how to be rich, why don't you ask your best friend, who's the other poor kid in my class, Mike. I said, well, why is his father going to be rich? He said, well, because Mike's father's an entrepreneur. And I said, what are you? He says, I'm an employee, government employee. And I didn't know what this meant. I'm 9 years old, and I'm struggling, you know. And I said, why does an entrepreneur have to know about money? He says, because they're entrepreneurs. You have to know about money. And so that's where the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad started. So I would go, I'd take my bicycle, I'd ride across town, and I'd go knock on my rich dad's door, and I'd sit in his business, and I was an apprentice. And I sat there and actually worked in his business till I was about my 40s. So it's just like, that's why Donald Trump and I are really good friends. We're both apprentices.
You co-authored a book with him. Is that correct?
2 books.
Oh, 2 books. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
And what's great about both of you is you're populist. At the end of the day, you
Yes.
want to help the average person.
Yes.
So despite your phenomenal individual success, it's the average person that you have deep in your heart.
Well, it sounds like you're trying to spread that knowledge and that financial literacy so that people can, start making plans so that they can maybe be rich one day. A lot of people don't have that financial understanding to start building their own wealth.
And I'm very concerned right now because this gap between rich and poor, and it's not race. It's either rich or you're poor today. And it's so wide. I was, when you met me down there, I'm talking to my friend who is in Thailand. He's going, holy moly, this is going on because it's a macro world today. He says, this is going on, this is going on. He says, I think there's going to be a war over Taiwan coming. I'm going, holy moly. So that's kind of why I do what I do. I've been studying this since I was 9 years old.
And you started out fighting for freedom. You're a Marine helicopter pilot. Can you tell us a little bit about your background with that?
And thank you for your service.
Thank you so much for your service.
Please don't say that. I really hate that, because I didn't do that to serve. I just do it because I went to military school.
But you chose to do that.
More or less, yes. I volunteered.
You volunteered.
Yeah. So Marines fight for freedom. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a conservative. I fight for the freedom of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. And what disturbs me today, and the reason I wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad 25 years ago, was our freedoms are being taken away. And like my friend Donald Trump gets censored. I mean, this will probably get censored too because I said that. And then they censor, what's his name? Dr. Seuss and Pepe Le Pew. I'm going, what?
They just canceled Mr. Potato Head. What's next? What's next?
Because is he sexist or something?
Oh.
Anyway, so there's something, hey, I was just talking to you, it's getting worse every day, so that's why I'm concerned. And when we were having, breakfast at Lawns, I write for those guys who are the waiters and waitresses there. Hopefully they'll have a chance. Because the people that are ripping off our people are the people who are academic, the elite, like Bernanke and Yellen and Biden and Obama and all that. They rip us off.
It was exciting. We had breakfast at Lawns, and our waitress was a big fan of Robert Kiyosaki and had read all his books, and she was just mesmerized to meet you. And she said she's going to take all your advice. So what would you say to the parent that wants, I know you wrote a book about how you don't think kids should go to college. That's my understanding. Is that correct?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. What did you say?
I'm saying our schools teach us nothing about money.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And that's my concern. And my question was, it goes back to being 9 years old in Hilo, Hawaii,
okay,
hanging out with all these rich white kids. And the reason they were rich, they owned the plantations. And the guys across the street, my classmates I should have been with, they worked for the plantation. So I saw this Black Lives Matter and the woke stuff. I saw it young. And it's always concerned me. And I'm at the point of my life where, Trump and I are really good friends. I've never made so much money in my whole life, but it doesn't make me feel good if my fellow human beings are going to go down the tube. That's what concerns me. So that's why Trump and I wrote books together. I was on Oprah, and I talked to her about financial education and all this. There's a lot of people concerned about it, but the people that are in the way are the school teachers. My poor dads, PhDs. And so that's why I keep saying what it is. So when you said, would you mind coming on the radio program, I said, I'll talk to anybody, because this is my 4th show today. I'm talking about why don't we teach kids about money?
And this was stirring in your heart as a kid, and taking formation in you, and in that process of your formation, you chose the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy.
Right, because I wanted to be a sailor. I watched Mutiny on the Bounty with Marlon Brando, and he sailed into Papeete Harbor, and he had a bunch of Tahitian maidens paddle out with nothing on but flower lace. And the next day, my guidance counselor, because I flunked out of school so many times, it was ridiculous. He's my dad, the head of education. I'm flunking out left and right. And she says, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, I want to sail to Tahiti. She goes, you don't have very high ambitions. I said, well, it sounds like fun to me. So she was great. I mean, she was a great teacher, Miss Janung. She said, if you want to sail to Tahiti, I'll send you to the school that'll get you to Tahiti. And that was the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. So 2 years later, I sailed into Papeete, Tahiti. And she was a great teacher.
Wow.
She didn't tell me not to do something. She says, these are your dreams, go for them.
I love it. Go for your dreams. So I think it's important because our show cares about the environment. We care about helping others. Like you're a populist and you care about helping the little guy and you're teaching him how to make money. But we do care about the environment, and I think it's important people don't know that you have a Green New Deal.
Yeah,
can
I'm not
you
allowed to
speak
talk
a little bit about that?
I really don't want to. And I'm not just trying to say anything. I told you. Look, when the socialists like AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and those criminals, they go up there and they push the Green New Deal. It's a tax. All it is a tax. Mm-hmm. And so as a capitalist, we put a deal together that we're going to make fortunes on tax. Mm-hmm. And the oil companies will pay for it, and the carbon companies will pay for it. So that's what capitalists do. We put deals together. And again, I won't say I'm a Marine. I fight for freedom. You want to be a communist? You can knock yourself out. You want to be a liberal? You can knock yourself out. I don't really care. But I am a capitalist. Trump and I are really good friends. His sons and I are really good friends. We're capitalists. But you look at the other side of it, you have this guy Biden, Obama, and the Clintons. They're attorneys. And there's something different about that. Nothing wrong with it, but they're not capitalists.
Finishing at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, if I can go back to that.
Well, no, wait. I had asked him a question about the planting trees deal that we discussed at
I don't want
breakfast.
to talk about it because it's about a tax. Please hear me. I do.
You don't want to talk about your project planting the trees?
I'd rather not. It's a tax on you guys that I'm going to get rich on.
But you're helping the environment.
Yeah, but I'm going to get because we're going to tax.
But I'm okay with that if you're making the environment better.
Okay, I would rather not talk about it if it's okay with you.
Okay. We won't talk about that.
I would like to talk about financial education. That's what I care about. Because we're pumping out kids today who don't have a prayer.
Well, and one thing I feel like is a really common theme right now that is very alarming is the demonization of capitalism.
Yes, thank you.
A lot of people are talking about how capitalism is the evil that's causing all this inequality, and that's not accurate at all. No. A lot of the people that are trying to come to the U.S. for asylum are coming from communist countries.
Well, not only that,
it's so ironic that a lot of the left is really pushing hard for us to just have a totally open border policy, but a lot of those people are coming here from communist regimes that failed. So, I mean, we kind of need to look at that issue as a whole. We need to have capitalism spread to those countries so that they will start prospering.
Well, see, my concern is one of my interviews today was with this woman who escaped from North Korea. She was 13 years old, and she said, if you look at North Korea on the map, there's no lights there. There's no electricity. So they saw these lights, and she says, I didn't run for freedom. My mother and I didn't run for freedom. We ran for a bowl of rice. We were starving. So they crossed this river, and they crossed into China. And I said, is that what's going on the southern border? And she says, exactly. And they got captured. They raped her mother right in front of her. And then they sold her because she was a virgin, $600. And so she's saying that, and I'm going, that's the stuff I work on. So if we understand what is happening inside this country, and I was asking her about what's going on our southern border, she says the same thing. I travel constantly, so I was in El Salvador. That's where most of the people are coming from, and the reason they're running from El Salvador is because they defunded the police. The same thing what they want to do here. And when they defund the police, then the gangs go out into the streets and they rape, pillage, and murder and all this stuff. And so that's why they're coming north here. She says it's the same thing that we're doing. We did in North Korea. She lives in Chicago now, and her story was just shocking. And so that's what I do. So I want to make sure we're fighting for capitalism, not communism. I fought in the U.S. Marine Corps twice for capitalism, for democracy, for freedom, and we're losing it. When they take out Dr. Seuss, they're going to take me out next too.
So how would you define capitalism? What's your definition of capitalism, and what's your definition of communism?
Communism is where the state owns the business, owns the economy, centrally controlled. It's called the central banks of the world. The Bank of International Settlements out of Zurich, and the Fed here, they're all centrally controlled banks. And that's why Ron Paul, said, end the Fed. all these people, DiMartino Booth and all this thing, the Fed is a criminal organization. And now when I say that, I get nailed constantly. YouTube takes me off, Twitter takes me off. And I say, that's my freedom of speech. This is what I know. And that's what concerns me more than anything else, is we're losing our freedoms. But I went to Vietnam twice, and that's what I fought for. You can be a Republican, you can be a Democrat, you can be LBGT. I don't really care. I just want my freedom.
Okay, so when you fought for freedom, how was that? What was that like? Can you give us some stories about flying your helicopter and fighting for freedom?
Well, I don't think anybody has seen communism. That's the problem. So the first, I was a carrier pilot, so we lift off. First time I crossed the beach, and in the Marine Corps, we call it feet dry. Feet dry means we've come off the water, and we're now turning across the beach. And I turn right, and what I saw shocked me. It was a French Indo-Chinese Riviera. So the French were there before us, as you guys may know in history. And they had these beautiful, beautiful mansions right on the beaches just south of Way Citadel. And they're all burned out. They were blasted. I remember there's one beautiful yellow French chateau. It must have been the head guy's house, but the communists took it over. And I saw that, but going back to the academy, I went to the Merchant Marine Academy, and my economics instructor had me read Marx's Communist Manifesto. And it's coming true today. That's what scares me. And so when I flew across the beach in Vietnam, this is 1972, I saw these burned out, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful homes. And then 2 years ago, I was in Romania. I saw the same thing. Is when the communists take over, they kill all the rich, and then they take their houses. That's what Castro did. That's what Che Guevara did. And that's what's going to happen here. And that's why I keep speaking out. So it's not about happy camp for me. I just asked the same question. Why don't we teach kids about money?
So I can't remember where, but you were somewhere where you raised a business or a lot of money and they took it from you. Where was that?
China. I started a gold mine in China. Took it public on the Toronto Stock Exchange and raised $27 million. And then we struck gold in China, a little city called Dalian. And as soon as we struck gold, the Chinese said, thank you. I have no love for communism. I mean...
So they took your money from you?
They took my gold mine. That's what communism is. They own...
So with just zero compensation, too?
They didn't even say thank you.
But you learned about gold from your Vietnam years.
Correct.
Can you share that story?
Spot. That's the only word I remember from that breakfast that I didn't know what you were talking about. Spot. And explain about spot.
Well, what happened was... August 15, 1971, President Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. And if you studied the Communist Manifesto, one thing that Lenin said, if you want to destroy capitalism, debauch the currency. And so here I am in Vietnam. Nixon takes the dollar off the gold standard. He was debauching the currency. Nixon was. So I'm flying in Vietnam, and I said, I better go look for some gold. And unfortunately, the NVA had rolled south. We were losing. We were getting our butts kicked out there. It was really sad, losing so many good friends. And I said, I better go look for some gold. And the trouble was the gold mine was behind enemy lines. So my co-pilot and I, being Marines, we're not the brightest guys on earth. We said, well, let's go see if we can negotiate a price for gold. Because if the NVA has taken the place, they might give me a discount. So we flew behind enemy lines. We walked through the village. We disarmed. Marines aren't the brightest guys. And we walk into the gold cellar, a little tiny Vietnamese woman sitting behind her little bamboo shack. And she sits there and she goes, and we don't speak English, and I'm looking at this gold, and I realized, I don't know if you know this, but back in 1972, it was illegal for Americans to own gold.
I did not know that until you told me that.
So I'm sitting there negotiating with her. So gold was approximately $48 an ounce. It was up from $35. And so I thought I could get a discount, maybe at $40. And she just goes, spot. That was the only English word she knew, spot. I said, what does spot mean? And spot is the price of gold all over the world. It's always the same.
At that particular moment.
At that moment. But this is the sad thing about the reason I'm concerned, I was on the phone when you came up, is that the price of gold is going down, but you can't get any. today. This is 2021.
How is that possible if there's so much
That's what I'm
scarcity?
saying. You're asking me the question. Somebody's manipulating this market, and I think it's the Fed again. So I'm saying, oh my God, it's so manipulated. You can't even buy silver.
So you're saying right now, like tomorrow, if I wanted to buy gold or silver, you can't find it.
You'd have to pay more.
A lot more.
There is so much. Look, the price of silver is really the one I love the most. I started a silver mine in Argentina. So the price of silver is going down. It's going down. Demand is going up, but you can't get any. And so somebody is manipulating this market. And I wish I knew who it was, but that's why I was talking to you guys at Lawns and saying there's something really rotten here. And they talk about Pepe Le Pew and Speedy Gonzalez and Dr. Seuss, and somebody's robbing us blind.
It's a distraction, right?
So I'm a big fan of your Twitter, so I already know how you feel about
thank you.
cryptocurrencies. But do you think that the Fed or one of those other financial institutions is going to try to control Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies the way that they're trying to manipulate the gold and silver markets?
I think so. I mean, I love Bitcoin. You know, I get trashed by my old guys like gold and silver, and the young guys like Bitcoin. And that's what I think is great about the young guys. At least you're more aware that you're being screwed by the Fed. I like that. You know what I mean?
So you think Bitcoin is equivalent with gold and silver?
I didn't say that. I'm just trying to say the younger generation is more aware than my generation.
Okay.
And that's why when I talk to young guys, they all know what Bitcoin is. I talk to my old guys like me, they go, what's that? You know what I mean?
Chet, what is Bitcoin?
It's a cryptocurrency that uses blockchain technology to ensure that there won't ever be too much inflation. There will never be more than 22 million Bitcoins. So since there's a finite number of them, the value of them will stay hopefully high if there's no market manipulation, because you need scarcity for a currency to retain its value.
Now, Bitcoin is born, I studied this also, Bitcoin was born because the Generation X, I think, before millennials, they were playing these video games. And the video games led to tokens, which led to Bitcoin. But when I talk to young guys, I go, they know why I'm in Bitcoin. It's because they know the Fed is corrupt, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you guys know that. I don't have to tell you. I talk to my old friends. They go, huh?
But beyond us getting screwed, and something you've talked about a lot and that I've really appreciated from your YouTube videos, is you talk about the culture of wealth. We still have this phenomena that wealthy people tend to stay wealthy and poor people in general tend to stay poor regardless of how intelligent they are.
Correct.
And I think that cycle is what is leading to a lot of the frustration right now.
Yes.
That's why people are saying, oh, it's capitalism's fault. So
You got it.
We need to eliminate that misconception and spread more financial literacy so that way people know how to build up their finances.
Well, what this guy Malcolm...
Good job, Chet.
Malcolm Gladwell, you know, he's a great guy, but he's a screaming liberal. But anyway, and I don't mind that. But he did a study on this guy named Tiemann, who went to Stanford 50-something years ago, and they got the brightest kids in California. I think there was 1,500 of them, and they all had to have a 1,400 IQ or something. I definitely was not part of that study. But they found out the same thing, is that you came from a rich family, you were successful as a genius. You came from a middle-class family, you were still middle class. And if you were poor, and although a genius, you were still poor. So it's family culture. So that's why I told the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. My father was a PhD, Stanford, University of Chicago, Northwestern, very good man. A poor culture. Every time he kept saying to me, you have to get a job, you have to save money, you have to invest in the stock market. I'm going, you do, but I don't. I don't do that. And it's because I had a rich dad as a culture.
So did your rich dad go to college?
No, of course not.
Okay.
It's a waste of time. And you can be a doctor, a lawyer, an attorney. College is good. You can be an entrepreneur. You don't need it. Look at Bill Gates and Jobs and those guys. They didn't finish school.
Exactly. So we need to cut to our music. We have one of our favorite musicians, Martin Niner, in studio here, and he's going to sing a song. He does little jingles about what the show's about, and he also has a story for us about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, because he believes all his success is because of your seminars and meeting you. So here we go.
Very smart man, that's why.
Martin.
Hello, everybody. Did you miss me?
Yes, we did.
It's been
Welcome
a
back.
minute. Hey, Chet, how are you, man?
We missed you.
So good to see you, Doc.
Awesome. Nice to have you.
And when Kinga told me that Mr. Kiyosaki was here, I got extremely excited. I've been following Mr. Kiyosaki since I think Rich Dad Poor Dad came out. I was also in the Navy, so I felt and went to the Naval Academy, and so felt a
smart guy.
I don't know about that, but I really just am so grateful that I came across your teachings, and I think that's what's even though a lot of what you guys have been discussing is dark, and that the world is in a tough state right now, but I can tell you, I was in a tough state when I met Mr. Kiyosaki. I didn't have $20 in my bank account. I had cashed in my 401k to come to his seminar. That was a 3-day weekend at some ritzy place in Scottsdale, and it was insane that we would spend all of our money, our 401, our retirement, and I'm 20 something. It was me, my wife at the time, her brother, my brother, and some other friends, and that weekend changed our life. And the books and the game changed our life. Don't get me wrong, but
The game's called Cash Flow.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun. We played it with our kids. And they're doing well because of partly because of it. Obviously, they have their own. I'm not gonna. Mr. Kiyosaki, his ego won't be able to get out the door if I keep going on too long. But it's just a pleasure, and I'm a serial entrepreneur because of you. I've gotten out of the rat race because of you. I have taught your concepts to children and adults and institutions for the last 25 years, I think. When did Rich Dad Poor Dad come out?
25 years ago.
Yeah, so it's been about that. Yeah, I mean, I came into it at the right time, and so
Tell us about your song.
Pardon me?
Your song. Tell us about your song.
Which one? I have 3.
What are you going to sing?
No, I'd rather talk about some of the things that Mr. Kiyosaki taught me specifically in the weekend that we were there. Just really flipped our world over. We were. I was in the rat race. We had in a family business. The patriarch had passed away, and we didn't know what to do. We didn't know whether we were going to sell the company, just let it dissolve and move on. And then the seminar came up, and this teaching came up, and we went for it, and it changed us. Long story short, we went from what are we going to do for Top Ramen next week to we raised $22 million.
All right. I like that.
How about we sing a song saying all of this?
I'm gonna, but you brought me here. I got the mic, so I'm gonna talk a minute. You guys have been chit-chatting this whole time, and I've been keeping my mouth shut. And then I will sing a song about freedom that is inspired by our conversation today. It is inspired... this gentleman has inspired a lot of things, and the thing is that although it could sound like we were complaining about things earlier, really, Mr. Kiyosaki is about solutions. It's about how do you raise your life energy, your life force to be able to be the person that you want to be, and it takes visualization. It takes writing your goals down. It takes so much work, and Mr. Kiyosaki brought all these people in this weekend to teach us all these things. And I don't know, honestly, I didn't keep in contact with anybody, but there was a lot of people there. But I'm pretty sure most, if not all of those people have been on a similar, exciting, amazing entrepreneurial journey, the capitalist journey. It's vilified, and yeah, there's a lot of jerks out there. I get it. But you know what? when you're doing it right, I mean, we started an environmental chemical company, and we kicked some butt over some toxic Avengers or toxic people who and products, and so that's the dream. You guys got to keep positive.
I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you.
Well, thank you. I'm proud just to be able to thank you.
So the message
This
is
is
that
so exciting to have you on the show here because you are the product of his seminars and his beliefs.
But the most
Absolutely.
important thing, this is the message. There's more opportunity than ever before, but not with old thinking.
Exactly.
And
What got you
all we did
here
was change the thinking.
won't get you there,
Yeah.
right?
The old thinking won't go to job, go to school, work hard, save money, get out of debt. Not going to get you there anymore.
Woohoo! Thank you, Robin. Okay, so Martin's going to sing a song now about the investing and success of
And freedom.
Poor Dad.
Oh, almost had a. All right, give me. Well, we're in the green room talking about freedom. Well, I know you wanna scream about the things that are going on, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel if you just pull your head out of your just look at what's in between the lines when you read the news, and don't believe anything that they tell you, because it's all just a bid for your democracy and your thoughts and your time and your mind share. So just stop it all and educate yourself, and just listen to your mind when you feel like it's wrong. That's what freedom is. Thinking for yourself. That's what freedom is. Don't put your mind on the shelf. Well, I know those folks who are listening to us are gonna just get up and educate themselves. But if you don't,
Woohoo! Martin, you're incredible.
I want to say amen, brother.
amen. That's right.
Freedom is you think for yourself. Jeez, that's fantastic. I love it.
Cheers, everybody.
Well, we want to hear another song from you, and everything you had to say is so interesting.
No, that was fantastic. I took band for 4 years. I still can't play an instrument.
You know, I have a love for the guitar. I find myself it takes time, right? You have to invest, because just like you have to invest in yourself, just like you have to invest in a business, just like you have to invest in an idea, you have to invest in music if that's something that's very passionate for you. And that just happened to be one of the many things that I've invested in. So, yeah.
Well, I think the most important thing was you started your own business. You took on the man.
Oh,
Congratulations.
not only did we take on the man, we sold to the government.
All right, even better.
We sold environmentally safe gun cleaner to the government. No,
nice.
and we still do. Gun cleaner.
Oh, you're
yeah.
my kind of guy. There,
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And we
a
also
little Second Amendment action here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually spent 20 years supporting and teaching gun maintenance and proper gun care to many Marines, Marine Sniper Corps, the Rangers, the Ranger Sniper. I mean, I have been all over the world with these amazing people, and I do take issue about you saying that Marines are not very smart, because I have met a lot of Marines in my day, and every single one of them not only could have kicked my ass, although I'm pretty good, but they were freaking smart.
Well, if you went to a naval academy, you're a lot smarter than we are, I'll tell you.
No, no. I respectfully and humbly disagree, sir.
Hold on. Martin is one of the smartest people I've ever met. That's why he's a regular on the show, because he can talk about every topic. He has so many different businesses.
You did?
I know everything that he does, and so Chet, Martin is amazing.
Yeah, he's like a Swiss Army knife. There's something new and useful is going to pop out.
I'm an American Army knife. Thank you very much.
True.
But for the ordinary people listening to the show who aren't as smart as Martin and need to change their culture, what tips can you give people for changing their financial culture?
Doc, great question.
Well, if I could be so blatant, the reason we created the cash flow game is because Maria Montessori, she was one of the greatest teachers of all times. Mm-hmm. She says, when you learn with your hands, your brain follows. And so I learned investing playing Monopoly. 4 greenhouses, 1031 tax deferred exchange, red hotels. And so I'd go to school and I'd sit there, I'd be sound asleep in the classroom. I didn't learn a damn thing. And so the reason I did well at the Merchant Marine Academy is your success depended upon how well you drove a ship. And the reason I did well at flight school for the Navy is because my score depended upon how well I flew that plane. And the most important thing was how many times did we fly and come back. And one of the saddest things of my life is that I had 2 classmates I went to high school with. They didn't come back. They never came back. They're on the wall. They're MIA. They never found them. They're A6 pilot, Navy A6 pilots. And I'm going, holy mackerel. And then I came back from Vietnam in '73, and I got spit on. And I'm going, what has happened to America?
Spit on by who?
Hippies.
Oh, hippies. Yeah. Well, and fortunately, I do think, fortunately, that's changing or is changed. I think that at least the time that I spent with the military, and I've lost some very dear friends in the wars that we have been engaged in the last few decades. So it's, I don't know.
We'll never forget the wars we're fighting are about oil.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Always remember
oil.
It's about oil.
It's about money. It's where the money
is.
So
when you're asking me about my Green New Deal, I worked for Standard Oil. That was my first job. Mm-hmm. I understand how much we pollute. We kill the environment. Right. So as an entrepreneur, I can create another company and go counter to them without bitching and moaning.
Right. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with conscious capitalism?
A little bit, yeah. But I don't play the stock market at all.
Well, this group is it's a group that we've been involved with, and it's about taking the ideas of environmentalism, sustainability, and applying it to business, so you can come up with ideas that are safer, more environmental, more sustainable, whatever you want to call it, but cost less than the toxic alternatives, right? That's what you're
called
talking
capitalism.
About. Right, exactly. You've got to, rather than wallow in what's going on, you have to step up. You have to persevere.
Amen,
you have to continue the fight for whatever you believe in. If you don't agree with me, I still want you to fight for what you believe in.
Take them on that, exactly.
Right?
If you think that LBGT is it, knock yourself out.
Yes, and I will support you 100%.
Yes, I don't really.
Yes.
And if you think Dr. Seuss is, I don't know what they think Dr. Seuss is, but I mean, to me, it's a waste of time. But to knock out Dr. Seuss, I still haven't figured out what that's about, or Mr. Potato Head.
Dr. Seuss is not a waste of time. I grew up on reading Dr. Seuss to my kids.
I know.
I think she turned out okay.
You must be a racist.
So hold on.
Too many bluefish, I guess, or something.
So what is the answer to Doc's question of what can the populace, the little guy,
those people that have just been on the outs and they think that the system is unfair, and they don't even comprehend that they actually are living in one of the best economic systems in the world, where you have the freedom to pursue your own endeavors, start your own company, or if you don't want to start your own company, you can just go get a job if you don't want to be an entrepreneurial type. That's amazing that you have that choice here. There's so many countries where that's not a choice, and the government owns all the assets. So those people that don't appreciate it here, what is like the main thing you would try to tell them to change their thinking and start appreciating this amazing economic system we live in. People from all over the world risk their lives just to try to have a chance to participate in this economy. And then there's people that are born here that don't even appreciate it and say, "Oh, death to capitalism." So we really need to...
I love your question, and I'd like him to answer it.
Yeah.
Well, there's an economist called Schumpeter, and he said that capitalism is creative destruction. In other words, as a capitalist, you're supposed to destroy the establishment. So you look at there was a thing called Blockbuster Video, and Amazon or whoever. I'm not a techie. They cleaned them out.
Netflix.
There used to be a Borders bookstore. Amazon cleaned them out. But when the central banks fail, we bail them out. That's not capitalism. That's communism. And that's what I'm saying. But the other thing I'm saying to you is that there's more opportunity today. And when a crash comes, that's when I'll get richer. I love crashes.
Wait. So how will you get richer because of that? Why? Explain. I don't know.
I'm already in position for it. I'm always preparing. That's why when we had a discussion, you said we got to be, what do you call it, positive? I'm the most negative guy you ever met because man, when it crashes, I'm going to be sexually stimulated. I'm going to go, oh my God. The reason I'm in Phoenix, Arizona is I came here when it crashed. And I thought, I bought the most beautiful, I own a lot of Camelback and all here. I look like a genius today, but back then I was a village idiot. When the economy crashed in Phoenix, I'm not...
So you buy real estate?
I wish you would listen. That's what I'm saying. There's opportunity. But if you don't know what opportunity looks like, and I'm saying that when a crash comes, and there's going to be a big one, you better study economics. His name is Schumpeter. It's called the creative destruction is capitalism. We're supposed to destroy this economy. Mm-hmm. But all these socialist, communist pinkos, like Janet Yellen and Biden and Kamala and all that, they're communists. Let us die. Let the entrepreneur rebuild the economy. But no, we're going to bail out the central banks. That's what Bernanke did. That's all I'm saying. I'm not a very popular guy out there, but I like crashes. That's what I'm saying.
But doesn't chaos create opportunity?
Yes.
That's capitalism,
yes.
Right? Because as a capitalist, my favorite quote that I think I made up, but I doubt it, was my definition of market share is I don't want to share the market with anybody. And so it is, I had to set some of my competitors on their rear ends.
You took on the man.
Right. And that's what you have to do. You have to step up.
What else are you going to do with your time?
Right. Exactly.
Take them on. That's why when you're talking about Bitcoin, I'm going, this is good stuff. Right. I don't know if Bitcoin is going to survive.
Yeah.
I just like it that they took on the Fed. I just think that gets me so excited.
And it already has made a lot of people fortunes. So it already has been a massive success.
Right.
I'm not Christian, but I would say thank you, Jesus.
You know what? I think one of the most important concepts that I learned from you the weekend that we did that seminar is the concept of fear.
Yes.
That fear is false evidence appearing real. And I have used that. I have plagiarized you. I apologize.
No, I stole it from Tony Robbins.
Okay, thank goodness.
A circle.
But that's the thing. It's the fear mongering. It's the distractions. All of the things that we're talking about. The Dr. Seuss, the the it's all fear. It's all distraction, and it's really all about being brave. And doing what you want to do.
I asked that North Vietnamese girl, who was sold into sex slavery.
Yeah.
Watched her mother get raped, her father get murdered. And she says, Americans complain about nothing.
About nothing. I have learned that because I've been all over the world like you have. And that is definitely one thing that I have become to appreciate. Every time I leave this country, I come back appreciating it that much more because I love everyone that I have met outside of this country. They are amazing. They are genuine. I've never had American bashing or any of that ridiculousness. But it's everybody's story. They're the good guy, right? So it's just.
And you have a new book, The Capitalist Manifesto.
Oh, yes.
Tell us the central tenets of your new book.
We are very excited about your new book.
You want to tell me about it?
No, but on what Martin just said, I want to say that I've been all over the world, and my dad loves your book, and my dad invested because of your book, and he actually spoke today, and he said to tell you hello.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I feel like I have this show because of my dad and your book.
No, thank you.
So I appreciate you. So can you tell us about your new book?
Well, Capitalist Manifesto, like I said, I went to military school, and my economics teacher, we called him the preppy. He was a rich kid who grew up with rich families. The point here is you come from rich families, you have a head start. And the question is, how do you give a kid without that head start a head start? So that's why I created the cash flow board game and all this, to change the culture between their left ear and their right ear. Because unless you change that, and then, the thing I'm concerned about is that the people hate capitalists now. They blame capitalists when it's really the socialists. It's really the school teachers.
It's such misplaced hatred. It's crazy.
Yes.
Misplaced hatred. Chet, that's a good way to explain it.
And then we're supposed to, and if you study Schumpeter, we're supposed to destroy the economy so a new economy can come up. But they bail out the old guys, my generation. I mean, I feel for you young guys. I'm going, you guys are getting screwed big time. But that's why I was thrilled when Bitcoin came out. I backed up the truck, and now I look like Genghis Khan or something.
And the book is going to spell out just what you're saying to us right now. Is that?
Not really. I just take on the school system. I don't like school.
So Chet, what are you taking from this? Because I talked to your dad a couple days ago about your dad's a big fan of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and we spoke about the show tonight. And you've had a nice head start. How do you feel about what you've learned tonight and from Robert Kiyosaki?
Well, I just really agree that it's a big problem right now. All the sentiments that people are,
Yes.
against capitalism. We need to be appreciative and praise capitalism because it's what has led to all of our amazing technological advancements. We have the best medical system in the world, all the best hospitals. That's because of capitalism. The list of benefits that capitalism has brought us is very long. And it's always ironic because you see somebody tweeting, oh, capitalism is evil. Hey, the reason why you have a computer in your hand is because of capitalism. So if you really think it's evil, you should maybe practice what you preach. Don't use any of the benefits.
Or even our cell phones, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, if I could plug my little, I do these videos now with people who actually ran from communist countries. And so today was the girl ran from North Korea, and she says, I didn't run for freedom, I ran for a bowl of rice. She says, I bathed twice a year. That's all we didn't have electricity. And she said, when I hear Americans bitching and moaning and complaining, I go, why don't you guys grow up? I mean, you have nothing to complain about. We couldn't even afford to complain. But she says something that was the most profound. She says, the most dangerous thing to do in North Korea was to think. You didn't dare think because they would kill you if you thought something they didn't want you to think. And that's what I'm talking about. When they take out Dr. Seuss, they're going to come get me next. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thought police. It's a scary concept.
That's what Orwell was talking about.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. And so it's happening.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is not true. I am opposed to this line of thinking.
So on that note, can we have a quick song from you, Martin? Because we only have, we have like 7 minutes left. Let's hear a song and then we can go back to our conversation. Can you do one of your magic songs?
How about Dr. Seuss?
I would not. No. I am so poor I can't pay attention. No. All right. So, let's play. Well, the news is dark outside and I don't know what's going on. I just want to understand how I can get along. There's a bunch of bright lights and a bunch of shiny things that are telling me things it's really hard to believe. But they say it with such conviction that you're like, Really? But I don't know if I want to be a part of the rat race. I'd rather be full of grace. I said yes. Yes is more fun. I say yeah, yes is more fun. Well, I work an unusual job. I sell stuff to a cranky mob. They just line up and give me the cash, and I take it, and then I dash. I say yeah. Yes is more fun. I say yeah. Yes is more fun. But no is less work.
That is such a gift. 4 years of band down the tubes.
That's right. I'll tell you, it only took me about 30 years to be able to sing you that song. That's intensive improv comedy classes, music lessons,
That's
and just
fantastic.
playing. You know, I put in my 10,000 hours, as
That's
Mr.
right.
Gladwell
As Gladwell will
says.
say,
It's like,
right?
absolutely.
There's a lot of truth to that one.
It is
boy.
a lot.
Malcolm Gladwell, you know, he's a flaming liberal, but I love him.
So Robert, what are the principles?
He's a flaming liberal, and you love him.
Well, one question I wanted to ask
Okay,
you
good.
is,
All right, Chet.
we didn't really get to cover it all, but you had a few businesses that didn't go so hot at first, and you were able to rebound and come back from that, and you persevered and then had some successful ventures after. So what was it like coming back from a failed venture?
I love that question.
Because a lot of people,
That's amazing.
You know, they would roll over and die after one failed attempt.
Right, that's the most important question you could ask, is because the way
It really is. Thank you, Chet.
the way humans are designed to learn is by failing. You know, we stand up and fall down. We stand up, fall down. Then once we can stand up, then we take a left foot, right foot, and we fall down. Then we say, okay, I think I'll try a bicycle next. You get your butt kicked. I still remember the first time I rode a bicycle. I was like amazed, you know, and then I crashed. and the thing about the Marine Corps is, you know, every day we had to crash our plane. Every single day. Because the more we crashed, the better pilots we became. So in Vietnam, I went down 3 times. And I'm alive today because we learned from our mistakes. Like I said, Marines aren't the brightest guys on earth, but we do crash well.
So I know there's a story.
With half of that.
Okay, so I know there's a story of where you were with a captain and you went behind the lines. Can you tell that story? Because I thought
Which
that was
one's that?
interesting. Do you remember, Doc?
Now, that was a story of, you know, going to buy gold because...
Wait, he told that story.
No.
I think what
the
you
spot
have
story.
right here is identity politics. I think that's
We're
the
running
most-
out of time. Let's.
Okay.
Robert,
Yeah.
what would you like
I
to
think
talk
the most
about?
important thing today is identity politics, because that's really what we're talking about here. And the difference between a Navy guy and a Marine is what's on the inside. What's the difference between a capitalist and a socialist is what's on the inside. So there's this guy, he's not my favorite guy, but he's another Japanese guy like me. He's Francis Fukuyama, and he's a Stanford professor, you know, which I don't get along with at all. But he has an extreme, precise definition of identity politics. It's the person inside of you. I call it victim politics. Do you know what I mean? If you're not clean about being LBGT or being poor or being black or being white or being Japanese, then that becomes your political identity. So we're all
Capitalists can't be victims.
No,
They can't.
You cannot be.
Otherwise, you'll fail. I
That's
mean,
right.
immediately, don't even pass go.
Thank you for saying that. So the identity on the inside is the thing that I loved about the Academy and the Marine Corps was that what Fukuyama talks about, Francis Fukuyama, you should listen to this guy. He's really good. I don't agree with him. But anyway, he says it's who you are on the inside. And if you're a victim, if you're black, and you think the world hates black people, which is not true, then that's your politics. The same as LBGT and all this. So, you know, when I go up there and I say, how can this tranny run against girls? I mean, I wouldn't put up with that BS. I'd shoot the guy as a Marine, of course. But, you know what I mean? As a Marine, I said, you're a guy dressed as a woman running against a woman? Give me a break.
I don't know if I agree with that. So I'm going to change the subject. Chad, we only have 2 minutes left. What's your last
It's
question?
identity politics. It's victim politics.
What's your last question?
Well, no, I wanted to comment on what he's saying. I agree that the people that think that they're a victim, and it's really a sense of entitlement that the world owes them something, and that things aren't fair for them. Well, guess what? If you're already in the United States, you're already in one of the best situations you could possibly be in.
Absolutely. And I think it's very, very important to note that not all LGBTQ, not all of these people feel that way.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
So we're here saving the planet.
One
show at a time with Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad Poor Dad. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Yeah, just don't be victims out there, please.
Be the hero.
And be nice to each other.
Be the hero.
Thank you for listening to In the Green Room. Join us here live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. or anytime on demand 24/7 on StarWorldWideNetworks.com.